And what up everybody, it's Anime Junkie and welcome to part 2 to What If Deku had full counter. And now, let's get to the intro.
I'm not the one you wanna fuck with. Late nights messing up my sleep, so I'm flustered. Taking out aggression with my pen because I trust it. Right in front of get myself a lamb color cuts for the game. Leave him hanging by his chain. Click bang, feeling rage, feeling fire in my brain, feel insane. And it's slowly feeling flames, moving fast to my brain, bringing more still, no glory.
Okay guys, before we start, I'd like to explain a lot of stuff now because a lot of you guys told me a lot of things in the previous part, so I need to tell you guys this and when those things will happen into the series. And I'll also be explaining some stuff that Deku already has to learn in this part. So let's get started. First of all, the martial arts that Deku is going to be learning is Ninpo. Ninpo is a ninja martial arts where it uses all kinds of martial arts techniques, different kind of martial arts technique to win, and it's kind of like an assassin martial arts. And it also uses a medium-sized blade, so that is also the blade that Deku is going to be using. So here's what I'm going to do. The mark that Deku has, the dragon mark, it's actually, let's say he's a descendant of Meliodas, which means he's somewhat of a demon. He's like a 1/10 of a fraction of a demon. So Meliodas was a full demon, I think. I know he's a full demon, but he probably married Elizabeth or something like that, and there's a long line of generations and generations of people marrying into them, and Deku is a descendant of Meliodas, which means he's a fraction of a demon, which means he's normally naturally stronger than all of those humans, because not only does he have like DNA of a god, but he won't unlock it because I don't want him to get the god power because I think it's kind of too OP. But he will get the demon power, which is still too OP, but I'll still give it to him because demons are awesome. Anyways, so let's say the 7 Deadly Sins world is the world that used to exist before the My Hero Academia world. So the My Hero Academia world is the future of the 7 Deadly Sins. All the kingdoms that used to exist, they all broke down into governments and all that stuff. Magic, there are some stories about the 7 Deadly Sins story and the 7 Deadly Sins and all that stuff, but they're just myths. Everybody just believes in like random folklore and all that stuff. So they just consider it myths, and they think of magic just like how we think of magic. It's like, oh, it's just like that stuff and it's fantasy, it's not real. But let's say magic doesn't really exist in this world. I mean, it does exist, but it's really low. It doesn't really exist in the air that much, and it's really thin inside. So I would say there is one demon left. There's like this one demon, and he's inside that giant hole in the earth, which nobody's ever actually discovered yet. But whoever does discover it, they will get possessed by it. And let's say Deku goes on an exploration tour and he gets possessed by that demon. But then when the demon and they will fight inside Deku's like mental state, Deku would use full counter and the demon would be slain, and then Deku would get his powers because being possessed by the demon would activate his demon powers, which he inherited from Meliodas since he's the descendant of Meliodas. So let's say he does get demon powers, but he won't be able to use it to the extent of Meliodas because there's not that much magic in the air. So let's say it will be really hard for him to actually get his full demon form where the black stuff comes out and he can create wings and swords out of it. So we'll talk about that stuff later, but right now he has martial arts and there's one demon left in the world, and there's probably no god race descendants anymore. I think Deku would be the only person who is a descendant of a god race descendant. So which is, damn it, I forgot her name. But Emilia, or the princess, but yeah, he's the descendant of them, and Meliodas and her got married and stuff. So yeah, but that won't happen when he gets his demon power. That won't happen until the start of the anime, close to the start of the anime. So that won't happen until then. And I wanted to ask a question: should I make Deku's personality like Meliodas'? Like, he's all cheerful and he's also a pervert. So should I make his personality like that? And which ship do you want? So should he like treat should he treat like Uraraka like he did with Elizabeth or whatever? But if you want that, you can just tell me in the comments below and I can do that. So yeah, so Deku has been training in Ninpo. He is like the star pupil of this martial arts, and he's the second pupil in this martial arts, because there's only one more person who is quirkless, and he actually respects this person because he's working really hard and he's really good at martial arts, even though he's quirkless. So he respects him. They're friends, but they're not really. He doesn't really have a dream to become a hero because he's quirkless, remember? So yeah, but he's not that important. But he's the star pupil. He learns from this like grumpy old man who is like the last ninja on earth or something. But yeah, he learns it from him, and Deku's strength is outrageous. His speed is also outrageous. He's good at swordsmanship, especially with the medium-sized blade. And then for some reason he feels this like sharp pain coming out of his shoulder where the mark is. And by the way, Deku is, let's say he's 12 years old. Deku is sparring with one of the students. He also has this blade on him, and this other student basically hits his sword away, and his blade goes flying away, and he starts using hand-to-hand combat. So he's like, damn it, I need my sword, I need my sword. And then he feels this sharp pain in his shoulder where the mark is, or the dragon tattoo is, and he's like, what the hell's going on? And then the blade appears. This is the sacred treasure which allows him to clone himself and all that stuff, half his power. So this is exactly Meliodas' power. So let's say when Meliodas had a baby, or when he passed his dragon tattoo mark on to the next generation, he put the legendary, let's say he put the legendary treasure inside of the mark, and then he basically sealed it away in there and then transferred it to the next generation. So the sword just pops out, and then his master is like, what the hell happened? And then he grabs the sword. He's like, this is my opportunity. And he hits the other blade, and he just goes flying. And then he's like, whoa, this blade is, I feel so connected with it. And he's like, is this my quirk? And then he knows like his quirk allows, or whenever he uses a blade, he can do more full counter damage. So I think it's like, oh, maybe my quirk gave a sword to me because it helps my quirk and improves it. So he's like, oh, it's probably what my quirk is and stuff. So he seals it back in, and then makes it appear again like it was like in a spatial dimension. So then his master congratulates him. He's like, oh, I think you unlocked a new level of your quirk, so congratulations, you've become stronger. Good job. Now, Deku's personality would be decided by you guys, and it will also decide the relationship between Bakugo and Deku. So if his personality is like Meliodas's, Deku wouldn't, Bakugo wouldn't really like Deku because he's like all cheerful and he doesn't really take things seriously, but he would really be afraid of Deku because when he is serious, he's really strong, and he knows not to underestimate Deku when he's serious. So he's kind of like that. So he's like not serious, but when he is serious, you better be afraid of him. So that's what his personality is going to be if he has Meliodas' personality. And if you just want the normal Deku where he's all timid and stuff, which probably won't happen because he has a quirk, and girls would probably like him because he's pretty hot, I guess, and I think he has muscle and he's pretty strong, so girls will also like him. So I don't think his normal Deku personality would ever pop up. Or we can just have a brand new personality, which would be pretty dull because the personalities that I do with Deku are pretty normal, and the personalities that I give Deku are pretty consistent. I mean, they're the normal personalities, like, oh, he might be nerdy, but in some of them, in a lot of them, he's like a genius. He doesn't really care about Bakugo. Or in some of them, he's friends with Bakugo, and they're good rivals. It's pretty consistent and normal personalities that I give him. So I just want to try a perverty personality like Meliodas' personality with Deku. So if you guys want me to do a pervert Meliodas personality with Deku, I would definitely be okay with that, and I might actually do it. But because it's something new and I've never done it, and it might actually help me out, improving my what ifs, by the way. So yeah, let's move on. Oh, and one of my fans in a different video, I commented on one of a different video, and he told me that I should do a what if Asta was a Saiyan, and I promised him I would do it today, but sorry, I can't really do it today because I was thinking about it and there were some plot holes there that I needed to fix, and I still need to think about it even more. But it is gonna be coming out, and all those people who actually asked me to do what if Deku had a stand, it's not going to be on my channel, it's going to be on Anime Royalties, because I'll be starting to do Anime Royalty videos soon. But the first video that I upload on Anime Royalty would be what if Deku had a stand. And in this video, comment down which stand he should have, and actually no, don't do that. I've already chosen which stand he's going to get. So yeah, don't even worry about that. So anyways, let's continue with the what if. So Deku's about 13 years old. He's practicing with his blade. He's like, okay, this is a cool blade. I love it. And he eventually, after like 1 month of training, he figures out how to clone himself. He's like, whoa, I didn't even know this. But then he's like, wait, I split my power, and he's weaker. And he's like, whoa, this is great for training. I can train with my clones and make myself stronger. This is amazing. But he finally understands, like, wait, they're always going to be weaker than me, so it's not going to be that useful. But maybe useful with like fighting techniques and training, because his clones aren't going to be weaker in like skill and training. So they would know the same martial arts. So he can only like train with them with martial arts, but not with full counter and all that stuff. He has to do it with some other people. Oh, and for 10k subs, if I do end up getting to 10k at the end of this month, if I do end up getting there, I might actually do the Deku verse thing for myself, not the one that is already going on in the internet, but for my what if. So like every single Deku what if that I've done, bringing them all together, and the original Deku and the original canon Deku would meet them. So yeah, and I'll be like their ringleader or something. They would like be coming to my like warp dimension, and every single Deku would appear. Then I would explain, you are my creations, and something like that. But yeah, that would be for like 10k or something, and that's like 10 minutes. I just wanted to skip this time because everything onwards here would have to be decided by his personality, which you guys have to decide, and the ship. And you guys decide a ship that isn't that canon, or that isn't gonna happen. So maybe Suye and Deku, maybe Momo and Deku, or Jiro and Deku, or Invisible Girl and Deku, or whatever girl and Deku. But yeah, so you guys decide the ship and personality that Deku should have, and he's definitely gonna get the demon form. Don't worry about it, and don't tell me about it, because I am gonna do it. And don't tell me to do the god form, because I don't want to do that at all, because demon and god form probably don't go together well, so it's always gonna be canceling each other. So yeah. Anyways, so hope you guys like, because it really does help the channel out. Subscribe to join the family, hit the bell icon for my future videos, and as always, Anime Junkie out.